In this video, we're going to talk about how we use blood spatter to determine the height that blood fell from, just like we did in class. When we're talking about blood spatter and the height that it fell from, we have to make sure we understand that the blood fell from a 90-degree angle. That means straight down, just like you guys did when you were in lab. So when blood drops at a 90-degree angle, it makes this nice circular pattern like this seen here. If it didn't drop at the 90-degree angle, that's when you would end up with blood that sort of has a tail on it like that. It means it's moving in a certain direction. Or if you're looking at a wall and there's actual splatter, it gives you other information. The blood that we dealt with fell from a 90-degree angle, so the only thing we can determine from that is how high did it fall from. So the main thing we're going to use here is our height determination graph. So you'll look at this graph and you see it has the key parts of a graph. It has our title here, the effective height on the diameter of blood spatter. It has a y-axis label, an x-axis label, and then it has our data points on it. One thing that you notice that you guys put in there in class is this trend line right here. And this trend line basically finds the average between all the different drops that we did because they were variable, they changed. The key thing we want to get off of this graph is this equation right here. The key thing we want to grab off of this graph is this equation. So if I move it over here bigger, we have y equals 0.0074x plus 0.8. We're going to do 80 because I ran out of room. Okay, on this, just so you know what everything comes from. The y relates directly to the y on our graph. So if we look at our graph, our y-axis is the diameter. So y means diameter. The 0.0074 is our slope. So it's taking our trend line and Excel found the slope for us. The x relates to the x-axis on our graph, so that's the height. And then the 0.08068 is the y-intercept. So that's always given to you. So in the problem, it's either going to give you the diameter or the height. So if it wants you to find the height, you'll have a number equals your equation and you will solve for x. Or if it tells you the height and you want to find the diameter, you'll enter in for x and you will solve for y. Just remember, if you can't remember which one x and y is, look at your graph, because your x is going to be your x-axis, so that's your height. Your y is going to be your y-axis, so that's your diameter of blood spatter. And then you just go through algebra and you solve for one or the other.